Welcome back. So we are in James chapter 4 verse 11 today. And so we are picking up from where we left off. We've talked about the passions. We've talked about how that leads to quarrels and strife in between people because it's a self-centered response to something that you want. We've talked about how you need to be humble in order to overcome these passions, that you submit yourselves to God, you resist the devil, and all these things. Now we get to brothers, do not slander one another in verse 11. Now this is also a reference to Leviticus 19:16 through 18. Do not go about spreading slander among your people. Do not do anything that endangers your neighbor's life. I am the Lord. Do not hate your brother in your heart. Okay, so it's not just outwardly speaking hate or saying raka, it's also in your heart. Rebuke your neighbor frankly so you will not share in his guilt. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against one of your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, so this word slander, it means to speak evil of, to deride, speak down to in hostility, to mock, to defame, backbite. It moves from criticism to an intent to damage, is questioning character, is undermining the reputation of another person. But this is not just slandering verbally where it's audible for others to hear, but also in your heart. So don't speak against your brother or judge him, because at the same measure you judge, you too will be judged. And that's in Matthew as well. So don't try to become the judge. That is not your position to become the judge. Are there times that we are to be a judge, that you are to judge things? Yes. But this is in a different context. This is, again, going to that difference between judging something to determine whether it's right or wrong, and being judgmental and bringing others down with your words. Be careful with your words. There's only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and to destroy. That is God's and God's alone. There's the other scripture that says, vindication is the Lord's. It is only the Lord's. It is not ours to determine somebody's punishment. So when we are dealing with our brothers and sisters and we have qualms with each other, or we're having these quarrels amongst each other because maybe our passions are both fighting, we're desiring something that somebody else has, and so we destroy each other. Well, you're sitting in judgment and you're a biased judge, and it's a dangerous place to be. One that you should be recused from the judgment seat because you are judging improperly. And so therefore you should not be in that position. You need to abdicate that judgment throne and give it back to God. That is not yours. You cannot judge somebody for something that really is dealing with a passion in your heart that is overcoming and going to destroy you and others. You are not, it says, but you, who are you to judge your neighbor? So you are not to judge your neighbor and bring them down, to slander them, especially if you have a log in your own eye and you're trying to deal with a speck in another's. And it's just because of the passions that are destroying both of you. So these passions can kill people, and it makes us enemies of God. So therefore, be very careful. Again, we come back to the same thing. Be very careful with your words. Your words can destroy, it can kill. And we are never to be placed in a position where our hearts are so deceived and led astray and adulterous. Our hearts and eyes being adulterous and looking at what satisfies us, satisfies our self-centered flesh, when the root of our problems is these misplaced passions. Instead of being passionate for God and He being our source, our main passion, then we will end up destroying other people and destroy our lives in the process. So be careful with your words. Don't slander one another. Understand where the root of all of this comes from. A lot of times when we feel a certain way towards somebody, it's a good time to step back and take an evaluation as to what is making me feel this way. Sometimes there's a legitimate reason to judge a situation properly, and we should, but don't then turn into a judgmental spirit. Instead, use that time to pray for them. It says to pray. The scripture tells us over and over to pray for our enemies. and who despitefully use us. So spend that time, first of all, to do a heart check. Where am I at? What am I slandering this person because of my own passion, and I'm just trying, and my own passions are kind of causing me to quarrel and backbite and feel this way? Or is there a legitimate reason? And if there is, then I need to pray for this person. So adjust the perspective. Instead of looking at everyone else as the problem and I'm the victim, begin to change that thinking process and do heart checks and then pray for those. We will pick up tomorrow in the next portion, the last portion of chapter 4 in verse 13 now.